Hello my lovelies, I hope you're all doing well. I am joining you roughly 14 weeks pregnant and we're going to chat everything first trimester for what I experienced. Because I feel like everyone's must be completely different. Like, I have a lot to say. I want to chat to you guys about my thoughts pre and post. Not post pregnancy because I'm not there yet, but like before I ever got pregnant to now being pregnant for the first time. My symptoms, cravings, aversions. I want to chat to you guys about my bump and my bump growth and therefore my body image. And I also have a couple questions in from my Instagram family that I want to answer as well. So sit tight. I know I can talk for Britain, so I'm going to try and keep it snappy. But like I said, I've got a lot to say. Oh, and I also have a bunch of like must-have items for your first trimester of pregnancy, which to be honest, like all of these run through the rest of the trimesters, but it's the first things that I would recommend picking up. So, my thoughts pre-pregnancy. Okay, so I did actually get a question which is I'm kind of about to answer. And this question was, what has surprised you the most from your first trimester and first time being pregnant? And I think it's just like what I thought pregnancy would be, or at least the first trimester, to what I've experienced. I thought I was going to be really sick and unwell, or at least somewhat sick and unwell, and just not feel great. That's what you see in the movies, what most people experience, I think. It's like the stereotypical thing people talk about when it comes to the first trimester. I also thought my body wouldn't really change in the first trimester. I thought I would just be my normal self and then maybe towards the end slowly grow a little bit of pouch at the bottom of my belly. More so it was just like the unknown, like I'd not experienced it before, so it was kind of just what you see in the movies and what most people go through, I guess, with sickness. I think the thing that has surprised me the most is probably how quickly my body started to change and how much that confused me, like how much that made me question what was going on. For me, I think it was probably like week 6 that I noticed my body changing. I didn't find out until just before 5 weeks. And I think in that first month, my body was the same. I mean, that's so early on in pregnancy. And then I'll get into like the symptoms, but I was so bloated, so bloated. My boobs had already started getting bigger and I was definitely starting to hold more fat. I could have just been eating more. I was hungry in those first few weeks, but I don't know if that's also just a thing from pregnancy, if that's a coping mechanism or something, or if it's just like something that some bodies do. I definitely put on some more fat. It was really confusing to see my body so early on in pregnancy being quite rounded in the belly from bloating and having more fat and just looking different and feeling different in that sense. And it wasn't like in a visual aesthetic way. I didn't care what I looked like. I know my belly is going to get big and that doesn't bother me. But it was like I've never been through this before and I don't know what to expect, and I just didn't expect so quickly to feel like I've put on some fat and I'm bloating so much. And I also felt like I couldn't show my body or my belly because that early on in pregnancy I wouldn't have a bump. It was just bloating and I did not feel confident. It really kind of like knocked me back. And yeah, I just wasn't expecting that. So I think hopefully I will be pregnant for another time in the future. We would love more kids. More kids, like there's already one out. And I think I would be going in to that pregnancy knowing, right, you just literally have to surrender to whatever happens at whatever stage, because number one, everybody is so different, and I think every pregnancy is so different between each person as well. So you really kind of just have to be aware of what's going on, but try to just not overanalyze it and just be like, my body is a vessel, she is a machine hard at work, and I've just got to let her do her thing. And I've definitely found that easier as my body's been growing over the last few months. That was a really long-winded answer. Also, some more of my thoughts after are that I feel incredibly connected to my body and also to like my purpose. I haven't even had a baby yet. I'm not even here trying to raise a child. But you know, maybe if you've been pregnant before or you are pregnant now, you might relate to the feeling that your body is literally just doing this most insane thing and your mind has no idea about it. And it really, for me, makes me feel like my body is so powerful. Like, I can't comprehend it. It blows my mind that there is a baby in my belly right now. But in the same sense, I feel so connected to my body and I'm in awe of it, and I just trust that it's really meant to be doing this. I don't know, it's just insane. The other thing I just want to say before I get into my personal symptoms through the first trimester is that please take what I say and what my experience as just my experience. Like, you may not experience this, you may experience some of these things, but from what I've seen, I think it's mostly on TikTok, people talk about their experiences like you are going to experience that too and you need to prepare yourself. Like, that's how I feel anyway. Yeah, that is my one thing I just want to say. So, symptoms. I literally have everything written down in this book so that I can give you the lowdown, because I feel like week by week or like every couple weeks it did actually change quite a bit. I think I'm just going to integrate the questions into my recap because some questions fit some like topics that I'm going through. So somebody asked, what was the, I'm saying somebody because I feel like I just want to keep it anonymous for all the people that might want to be anonymous. I don't know. They asked, what was the initial thing that made you test, symptoms or missing period? So in the first 4 weeks of me being pregnant and not knowing, I think the only symptom I can point out now that I wasn't aware of is that I just felt more tired than normal. I've always been a tired person, so for me it's not like a crazy change, so it is something that could slip by me. I did have a few evenings where I literally felt like I hit a brick wall and I had to like go home and shut off, and I'm not really that kind of person. Like, if I'm tired, I just go quiet and I chill. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can still just do my thing, but those few times I had to go home and get in comfies and ready for bed. Why is my neighbour now banging on the wall like crazy? So yeah, I didn't really have any symptoms up until like 5-6 weeks. Although obviously that's when I knew, so maybe I was being more analytical, but nevertheless. The main reason why I took a test, which if you saw the video you might have like caught on to, I just had a gut feeling, not really saying I'm pregnant, but saying I need to take a test. I took my pregnancy test when I was 2 days late on my period, and it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm literally on like clockwork, I should be on, so I must be pregnant. Like, my period is usually quite regular, but I can go a few days early, a few days late sometimes. It wasn't a big deal. I think in the first few months of me trying, it was a big deal, but we had been trying for about 8 months at this point, and I just wasn't overthinking it. I just stopped overthinking us trying, me being late, the 2-week wait and all those things. But it got to the point where I was like, I'm due on tomorrow or I'm due on today, and I just had this gut feeling of like, I need to take a test. Like, I will take a test. I'm not gonna wait like a week. But like, I didn't really know when the right time was to do it. And I didn't really think I was pregnant. I just knew I needed to take one. Something was telling me, take a test. And the morning of the day I took the test, I went for a walk with my friend, and I was thinking like, should I have just gotten up and taken the test straight away, because you're supposed to use your first wee with the test and otherwise it might be inaccurate. But I was like, I don't want to cancel on my friend, because if it's positive I don't know if I can go for a walk because I'll be freaking out. And lo and behold, I got home and straight away did the test, and there it was. And I think in the video I grabbed my belly and I'm like, is anyone in there? And it just blows my mind. Like, I feel like subconsciously I knew, and that's why I knew to take a test, but in my conscious mind I just wasn't overthinking it, so I was like just going along with my instincts. It's so crazy. That answers my question of why I took the test and the fact that I didn't have any symptoms in the first 4 weeks. From week 5 and 6, I'm reading my notes, sorry, I can't memorize all of this. I had a mixture of cramps, and like achy belly, kind of like period pain but different. Bloating, a lot of bloating. I was quite hungry. Maybe I was just over analysing, but I just felt like really quite hungry. I just wanted to eat quite often. My hay fever seemed to be worse than it has been before, because I've always had it, but it's always been like really mild. Whereas I remember going out on dog walks and literally being streaming and just being like, is this pregnancy? I noticed my body started to change with gaining a bit of fat on my belly and my boobs growing. And then lastly, the only kind of nausea that I experienced was when it came to doing anything that made me nervous. Like, I had my driving test, which usually that would make me feel sick, but I felt really sick, really sick. And then also like telling any family member or friends. Usually nerves don't make me feel sick, but I just felt so sick. I wasn't sick, but those were the feelings. Also, at the end of week 5, I think it was, just before I went to London to see my sister, I was playing tennis with Nate, like really chill, just hitting it back and forth. I was kind of like going for it, but not too much. I was bloated, so I couldn't do too much. I ended up just twisting my back a little bit, and I did say to Nate, oh, that felt a bit dodgy. And then by midday the next day, which was the day we had to drive like 5 hours to London, my back just seized up, and it got to a point where I was hunched over when I was walking, and I literally just felt really crippled. It was really uncomfortable, and I've never really had back pain like that before, so I'm kind of certain that my back was just more sensitive due to being pregnant. So I've been trying to take it a lot easier since then. I've not played tennis since. So that was interesting. I don't know if that's a symptom, but my experience nonetheless. Week 7, 8 and 9, I felt the tiredness again. I was having like daily naps, which isn't too uncommon for me. Like, I will have a nap now and then pre-pregnancy, but it became like a daily thing and I had to do it. Again, still really bloated, had quite an achy belly, and this is when I was starting to feel sensitive to rich foods, particularly in the morning. Like, I remember one morning I had like beans on toast with sausage cut up into it, and the sausage was just so rich, especially for like that time of morning, and usually that doesn't bother me, but I had to just pick it all out. I could not eat any of it, which just isn't like me. So that was definitely the start of my aversions. Throughout all of my pregnancy, I would say that I've not had morning sickness, which is insane. I really thought I would. Between 7, 8 and 9 weeks, I would say that if I started to feel hungry, I felt like a little bit nauseous, but it was like nothing really, and I got used to just making sure I didn't get hungry. But there was one morning, I think on week 7, which was also during a heat wave, so I'm kind of putting it down to me getting far too hot as well. I delayed my breakfast for some reason, and the combination of me getting too hungry too quickly and being really, really hot just really got to me. I went downstairs to start cooking food, and I just started feeling really like dizzy, shaky, and I said to Nate, you're gonna have to take over with the food because I'm gonna have to go up to the bathroom. And I was up there, sat on the floor, pale as a ghost, really hot and sweaty, but like clammy cold hands. And I would say in terms of feeling sick, I couldn't have felt worse, but I wasn't sick. Nate managed to like pull the fan onto me while I was sat in the bathroom, which helped me cool down. I eventually got to the bed and he brought me some food, and then like within half an hour I was feeling a lot more normal. And that's the only kind of experience I had with morning sickness. Every morning since then, from 7 to 9 weeks, maybe 10 weeks, the second I woke up I had a bit of a biscuit, which was recommended to me by a lot of people, and I think that probably prevented morning sickness. And then from week 10 onwards, so 10, 11 and 12, I really started to feel very normal. Like, I don't get that nauseous feeling if I'm hungry, even though it was so minor anyway. I feel completely myself. I mean, I'm week 15 now, so this was a while ago, but yeah, I've been feeling very normal. And also in week 10, 11, 12, I also experienced like my allergies being worse. I can say that I still felt normal because I had allergies before, they were just a bit worse. So like again with the hay fever, but also there was like one time where I was dog sitting family dogs, which I see often anyway, and just the second I was in there I was sneezing constantly, and quite often they would be like really violent sneezes where I'm literally like like my whole body is like shaking, and it's not fun. Usually in that kind of scenario, if I'm really reacting to animals or something, if I leave the place that it's happening, within a few hours I'll be back to normal, but the sneezing continued for like a whole 24 hours, which isn't like me. So that was like definitely a pregnancy thing. And since then I've just avoided situations like that. Like my pets I'm used to, so they're not making me react or anything, thank God. But yeah. I also started to get quite a lot of tension in my upper back, shoulders and neck, and it got to a point where a couple of evenings I had to say to Nate, please just give me a neck rub or some sort of massage because I need some tension relief. And I didn't know why it happened, and it was always in the evening. But again, I think after about 12 weeks that stopped. So all of the symptoms that I have had have been very fleeting. Like I cut the grass yesterday and my hay fever wasn't set off, so it's a crazy world being pregnant. And then the last symptoms that I had in the last few weeks of the first trimester were I really started to feel achy, hot and tired very easily, and like out of breath. Like just going up the stairs I would be like, oh my god, and I'd have to like stop and like get back to myself. I also started to notice pain in the night if I needed a wee, and I wouldn't necessarily feel like I needed a wee, so it's confusing, but I learned that if I got up and just went to the toilet I'd be fine, which I feel like has been getting better, but I don't know if that's because I've been drinking less in the evenings. And lastly, I've still been getting a bit of an achy belly, or I still was getting a bit of an achy belly. This is when sleeping positions started to become a little bit awkward or painful or uncomfortable. So yeah, a lot, but like I said, very fleeting, very like up and down, and overall nothing crazy, nothing overly negative. So I feel very blessed because I know that a lot of people really suffer. In terms of cravings, I don't know if cravings usually come on later in the pregnancy or if it depends on the person. For me, I wouldn't say I've had cravings, but I've had a couple things pop up that I just really fancy, and it's really random, but I'm like not bothered if I can't have it. A couple of them have been things I've not had in years, like skips. And I found out they're vegan, so randomly started having skips loads. And then another thing was Lunchables. You know the little like cracker, ham and cheese things that you take to school when you're like 10 years old? Don't think you can find them vegan, so no, I've not had any, but I've just really fancied them. I've not really had like an overly sensitive smell or anything, or like thought that things smell really bad, but aversions wise, like foods that I've not been liking that I used to like, is kind of like anything with a mushy texture, like vegan mince or tofu, like that kind of it's making me cringe now. Tofu is a bit on and off, like sometimes I won't mind it, but so far vegan mince is like the worst thing, and I would eat it fine before, so it's definitely a pregnancy thing. And also strawberries. For some reason strawberries taste gross to me right now, so I didn't expect that one. I didn't see that one coming. We are almost there. I feel like this is such a long video, so thank you for sticking with me. I just want to run through my must-haves, a little bump chat and bump update, and then some final questions that you guys asked. So must-haves, I'm going to run through quickly. The first one, of course, which you can start pre-pregnancy if you're trying for a baby, is vitamins. Of course, they say that you should be taking folic acid and vitamin D. I actually started taking these, I think it was like week 6. These are just the Naturelo prenatal multivitamin, and they literally have everything you could want in them. I will link them below. They are from Amazon, and the reason I chose these was A, the amount of stuff that's in there. There's literally everything in there. I don't know if it says it on here, but I swear I read somewhere just saying that it was a bit more of a natural supplement with like more real ingredients in it, if you know what I mean. I don't know. And I think the price point was kind of like middle of the range, so get yourself some vitamins. They are obviously an essential, and I really like these ones, although you have to take 3 at a time, which is a bit annoying. Next up for me, which I think I actually bought before the vitamins, which shows my priorities, is a baby journal or pregnancy journal, baby book. Basically somewhere that you can document your pregnancy, put in all of your photos and one day give to your baby, or you can keep it for yourself for like memory's sake. This one that I've got, it's the Complete Pregnancy Journal by BB and Bo, is like one of the ones highly recommended on TikTok, but I actually discovered it, I think on Amazon as well, seeing it on TikTok, because I was like comparing a bunch of different ones, and I felt like there's so many things that you could put in a pregnancy journal or baby book, and each one that I found like had some and not others and blah blah blah. Hence the name, the Complete Pregnancy Journal. This one literally has everything you could want in here, from documenting each week of your pregnancy to doing like family trees, planning your nursery with mood boards and before and after photos, and baby shower gift logs, and labour planning, the whole first year of the baby's life. There's just so much, and also it's so minimal and neutral. It's just white and gold. Even the pages are like gold. It's stunning, and inside it's literally just white and grey. It's beautiful. It's just so easy. So I've been loving documenting the pregnancy in this so far. I'm printing out like photos of family members for them to have in here, and yeah, I just keep it in the box to like try and keep it fresh. And again, the price range, I feel like this wasn't the most expensive one I found, and for the amount that's in it, I think it's worth every penny. Of course, a pregnancy pillow. I just feel like it's good to have it picked out and ready for when you want to start using it. For me, I started using it I think at 12 weeks, and I started with the Tommy Tippy one. I'll put the photo in, and quickly realised I didn't really like it that much. It didn't support my back as much as I'd like, because you want to stop rolling and sleeping on your back, which I do a lot. So then I ended up picking out a U-shaped one, and I have been loving this one so far. So yeah, I just think it's a must to kind of figure that out before you need it, and try out at least one so you know if you like it or not. Obviously an essential for your pregnancy. I feel like my voice is starting to go. My final must-haves are raspberry leaf tea and a bump butter. So I will link this from Amazon because it is the biggest bag I've ever seen in my life. You're saving so much money by just going straight in and getting a big supply. I don't think you should be like drinking this like mad at the start of your pregnancy. People do warn that it can put you into early labour if you're having a lot of it too soon, apparently. But I think it's good to like wean yourself onto it, slowly start building it up, because it is a uterus toner. It's just really, really good for you. I think it has other benefits too. So yeah, I've been slowly starting to drink this, finding out how I most like to drink it, because I don't really like it hot. Personally, I like it like fridge cold with some added juice into it. So yeah, just another thing to like prepare for, be ready for, figure out how you like it, and slowly build up your use of it. And my camera battery is dying, so I'm gonna have to go get a new one. And of course, last but not least, the bump butter. So if you've been watching my videos, you would know that I made this myself. Personally, I just think the easiest thing to do is just go with a very natural hydrating bump butter. Obviously, I've not been through a whole pregnancy yet. I don't know how this is going to hold up and if it's going to help with stretch marks or anything, but at the end of the day, your body is probably going to get stretch marks for doing the most insane, amazing thing that it will ever do. And I know that that is easier for some people to accept than others. For me, I am completely surrendering to it. It is what it is. If I get them, I get them, and I'm just gonna try and be kind to myself. In the meantime though, this is the natural body butter that I'm gonna use just to look after my skin a little bit. You can watch the video of me making it if you would like to, but this is just shea butter with jojoba oil, rosehip oil and vitamin E oil. Nothing else. It has actually like hardened quite a lot and like solidified, so I kind of have to like really dig it out, but just melts in your hand after a little while and obviously melts into the skin. It is beautiful. And yeah, so that is my last must have, a natural, thick, moisturising and hydrating bump butter to get started straight away, because your body is doing a lot from day one. And then lastly, we have to chat bump update and bump chat and just all things body, because that has been a big part of my journey so far. And I've got a bunch of other questions to answer afterwards, but one of the questions was actually, how do you feel about your body changing? Obviously it's doing an amazing thing. Like I've touched on previously in this video, I would say that I definitely just felt like unprepared almost, in a sense, because I just didn't expect to see those changes in my body so quickly. To feel like I was putting on weight but not know whether it was pregnancy or if I was eating too much, like, it was confusing. And so pretty quickly, I think from like week 6, when the bloating was quite bad, I didn't know how to dress. Like, I did not know what to wear specifically to like go out in. So that's been a big thing of mine, is finding nice, loose, comfy clothes that I can go out in, because I don't always want to wear joggers outside. To answer the question though, like, how do I feel about my body changing? I think I just feel completely in awe of it. And I've also like never felt more womanly. I think just because it just feels so right for my body to be doing this. The fact that it's just doing it without me telling it to do it, it's just crazy. But yeah, just knowing that I've got my own baby in my belly just makes me feel like incredibly powerful, incredibly feminine and crazy. So I think although it was very confusing for me at the start and just not really like what I had expected, I absolutely love watching my body grow at the minute, and I can't wait to see it grow even more. Stretch marks and everything, like whatever happens, it's just the most incredible thing to watch your body doing basically magic. Like, to me this is magic for the first time ever. So yeah, I feel in a really good place with my body, and I like to think that post-pregnancy I will be loving of my body and accepting, but I'm also very aware that, again, it might not be what I expect. It might catch me off guard. All I plan to do is my best and just be kind to myself. So yeah. I kind of answered all of the things I was going to say about my bump chat in that one question. I would also just say though that I think at the start I got a little bit caught up on looking at other women's bump growth in the first trimester a bit too much, and like really comparing myself to that. And you get quite a few people who barely show at all in the first trimester, and so I would look at that and think, like, am I just getting fat? Like, what is going on with my body? Because I feel like I really have been showing quickly, to me anyway. Now that I'm like 14 weeks and I've got even more of a bump, I feel like I don't feel that way. But definitely at the start, when I was comparing, it was like a little bit toxic. So I've definitely had to micromanage the way that I look at other early bumps in other women, and just remind myself that like, they look that way and that's fine, and I look this way and that's fine, and we don't need to analyse it. I think that's everything I had to say about the bump chat. Also, I think we can do a little flick through of my weekly bump photo updates so you can kind of see the growth and the change, because like I said, for me, I feel like I have changed and grown a little bump quite quickly compared to some other people anyway. And yeah, like looking back from 5 weeks to 12 weeks is just mad, and I just love seeing what my body is doing. It's insane. So finally, to answer the questions that I haven't got round to yet. Somebody asked, I'm ready to have a baby, but my partner is not. Did you ever go through that? And I would definitely say yes. I think I can't like pinpoint exactly when I felt ready, but over the last 2 to 3, somewhere in there, 2 to 3, mainly 2 years, I really felt this instinct and inner feeling of like, I'm ready and I really cannot wait, and I'm so excited for us to get to a point where we're ready to start trying. And it wasn't that I was trying to convince Nate or say to him like, look, I'm ready, can we start? I just let him know that I was really excited, and I do feel like I'm really getting there. And he just wasn't. Like, he he was really excited for that stage, but he kind of knew that it just wasn't the right time, and he wasn't ready to kind of like step into that new role of becoming a dad. Like, it is a massive thing. I think we both knew in our guts that we wanted to be closer to home because we were living away from family at that point. For me, I just wanted to have a clear idea of what our future looked like. Ideally, I wanted to have our own home, but I had no idea if that would ever happen like that quickly for us. And then you get to September, October last year when we moved back home to Pembrokeshire, and pretty much immediately it clicked for both of us. I think in the months like leading up to our move, I was like, I think when we move, we're just gonna like start trying because it's just gonna feel right. Like, for me, I could really feel that building. And I kind of spoke to him about it, and he was kind of agreeing and being like, yeah, maybe. But it got to the point that we'd settled in this house, which is a rental house, literally down the road from family and friends. And we both just knew that we're home, we're not moving anywhere, and like, why wait any longer? It just felt right. And we knew that it could take a while to happen for us. Like, we didn't know. So I feel like we were kind of like going at different paces, but we were just very aware of each other, and we slowly kind of came and met at the same point, and we were ready. So in some respects, I know how you feel, because felt very ready and very excited when he was like, not yet. But then also, I think in those moments I knew deep down, like, I'm ready and I'm excited, but I wouldn't do it now, if that makes sense. That must be really hard if you're like 100% in and your partner is like, And some people say that like, you're never ready. I think it really depends on each person though. So all you can do is just communicate. And I think personally, what I do believe is everything happens when it's supposed to and how it's supposed to. So yeah. Next question is, what has been your favourite way to self-care or do something that has made you feel good? Do you know what? I feel like acts of self-care have kind of gone out of the window since finding out I'm pregnant. Like, pre-pregnancy, I actually started journaling again. I tried to do it every day, but it was more like every few days. And that really went out of the window because my mind just like went. And I was just like on this other planet in a whole new world basically. So I've not picked that up. I also used to love meditation, which I've only done once since pregnant, and I'd love to pick that up again, but again, I'm just not doing that for myself. I think the only things I have been doing is just making sure I take it easy, which I don't know if that's self-care, but it's definitely looking after myself, because I've just had this gut feeling of like, I am more vulnerable now, and I've got another being in my body that is precious, and I don't know what things I might do that might feel normal to me that really aren't anymore. Yeah, I think that would probably be the main thing. That, of course, that makes me feel good to slow down, connect, really think about what I'm doing and be kind to my body. And also to continue exercising, which I don't do enough. I'm trying to, and I will pick it up, but that is a massive form of self-care that I'm trying to hold on to during my pregnancy. 2 more questions left. The next question is, have you read or heard much about what you may experience during the second trimester? So I think, unless I'm forgetting something, the only thing I've heard about the second trimester is that you apparently get like this massive burst of energy or something. I don't know, just apparently that's like a really nice trimester and you feel really good and quite energetic and la-di-da. That's all I've heard. So I really don't know what to expect, but so far I just feel myself really, really normal. I don't really know what to expect, and I should probably look into it, and I've got a lot of books to actually read about it. So yeah, I feel like we've come to the second trimester so quickly, and I definitely need to prepare myself because I don't know what to expect. And last question, have you got boy and girl names in mind, and what gender are you hoping for, / or any gender? So we both would absolutely love to have boys and girls. We would love to have like 3, maybe 4 kids, and a mixture of boys and girls. But we have both agreed that if we could choose, we would have a boy first, and I really don't mind either way. I've kind of always thought and had a gut feeling that I'll have a girl first. Nate is, however, absolutely adamant that we're having a boy, and I have no idea, but if we could choose a boy first, which for me has quite like a deep meaning. For those of you that have followed me for quite a while, you would know that I had an older brother who passed away. He took his own life, and so me and my sister were kind of like robbed of growing up and always just having that like older brother protection, and like just always there teasing you, always there to just look after you. And yeah, I don't know, I loved having that when we had it, and obviously it's such a special thing to me that I will hold on to forever. So part of me just loves the idea of having girls and boys and being able to give my girls what me and my sister kind of missed out on. But if we had a girl first, I really like, it wouldn't bother me, so we'll see. And in terms of names, I'm not gonna answer that question. In all honesty, we're really struggling and we don't really know, but there are a couple that are sticking, and there are like ones we do have in mind, but I want to save that for another video and just do like a bunch of names we might be using or names we like, and maybe like sit down with Nate and just run through them, chat about why we like them and nicknames and all sorts. Like, I feel like there's so much to say. So one thing I will say though is that I really like boy names for girls. I don't know why. Like what is there? Blake, Matty, Cody, Cameron, I don't know, there's loads. I'm not saying those specific ones, but like a boyish name for a girl, I just think it's so cute. I don't know why, I'm really, really drawn to that. So maybe that'll be on the cards. We shall see, but yeah, that will come in a future video. I think this one is long enough. Oh my gosh, if you made it this far, thank you so, so much. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And yeah, just thank you for following me along on this journey. I really appreciate having you here. And yeah, I will see you very soon.